assign, and I'm just going to work off a presumption here, and you can tell me I'm all wet. But if Hickory Creek comes on board as an example, then geographically what we would probably do is identify a day each month or a day every couple of weeks in which the 4 lake cities are going to be assigned collection. And our representative will know that on the phone and be able to say, okay, your collection in Hickory Creek is such and such a day. Please make sure by 7 o'clock that morning the contents are put out properly, either on your front porch or your garage. We don't want the stuff out in the street. That's just an accident waiting to happen. Our folks will come up and take the materials back to a truck that has been basically retrofitted for a variety of different types of chemicals, and that technician who has been certified will sort the various types of chemicals and make sure they get into the proper bay, that type of thing. So, I think you can probably visualize what I'm talking about. I do want to let you know, too, that when we started really advocating the program last spring, we were talking about it as next generation of recycling, because our estimations was that probably 70-75% of this stuff would be recycled. The report I got just last week is it's really more like 90 or 95% of what we collect is recycled. So this is basically your next generation of recycling program, as well as making sure that this stuff doesn't end up in your parks over the weekend or dumped down a creek, that type of thing. So that's where I'm at with it. The flyers and the brochures we also put in here, these will be tailored to Town of Hickory Creek for specific circumstances that may be particular to you versus some other community where we've got the program up and running. Can I respond to any questions or concerns at this point?
I have a question. I know it's a sticky question, but one of the biggest problems I think families and teenagers face today is what to do with prescription medication that's no longer usable, and that becomes a source of a lot of problems. I'm curious to know any kind of headway being made on that, or any kind of process being looked at.
Yes, sir. I appreciate you bringing that up. That in fact, is an item on the drawing board for us to look at, and I'm cautiously optimistic. At this point in time, the 2 best options that I'm aware of is typically every school year, the school districts around here will sponsor a medication drop-off Saturday at a particular high school. Louisville ISD, I think there's this past Saturday.
I saw a sign for it today.
And I believe that Lake Dallas ISD has participated in the past as well. We also have a program in place with really heavy-duty ballistic types of drop-off units that we can make available at the local CVS pharmacy, the Walmart pharmacy, that type of thing. Now, that addresses part of the problem. It doesn't address the convenience issue, and that's part of where we're trying to go with this as well. So, it wouldn't surprise me if, let's say 1.5 or 2 years from now, that gets embedded in this program. And now I'm on record saying that. Let me rewind a couple seconds here. I can't assure you that I know we're going in that direction.
Question for you: the 79 cents. Is that going to, our contract expires October? Is that right? Mm-hmm. So how does that go on? Is that just going to be for, if we decide to go forward with that for the next 6 months, 7 months, and then that's renegotiated again in the new contract?
Well, Mayor, this program is not. Mayor, this program is not contingent upon a contract, solid waste contract with Waste Management, number one. Obviously, we would like it to be concurrent with all the other things that we're doing mass billing process would just be rolled into the bill. And then, we'll make sure that we go through advertising, marketing, public relations, all the things that are appropriate for you folks. Get tagged up on the webpage, that type of thing.
Now, I know in the past when we negotiated with you and Waste Management, it's always been kind of a sticking point as far as cost, because this 79 cents would be across every citizen.
Yes, sir.
And not every citizen's going to utilize it. And it's like, for y'all, it's $978 a month, I think is what it comes up to, with 1,200 rooftops, if everybody's using your service. So roughly $1,000 a month. Is there another way we could go about it if, for instance, we didn't lay it out for the entire town, but where somebody could call in and you would charge them for that? Okay. So
The only way we can make the numbers work is if we've got that predictable revenue stream across the community.
And it's always hard making a decision because you're making a decision for an increase for everybody, and that's not always good. So, okay. One more question, and I'm done asking questions. Containers larger than 5 gallons in size. That's always a big deal because Sherman-Williams won't even take those old paint buckets that are 5 gallons. And it says right there at the bottom that they will not be collected. And I know a lot of individuals around town, they have those sitting in their garage, and they're just old paint in 5-gallon buckets that they don't want to throw away. Is there another way we could look at that? I mean, that's a, it's a problem, you know.
Right, yeah, they are, certainly I'm trying to kind of process it in my head. I think you get a clear answer right now. One of the things that I would offer up as an example, Christian Community Action down in Louisville has the resale store. There's an awful lot of things that end up in the garbage that CCA will pick up at your home. And they may very well feel as if there's a use for that remaining paint in those large containers. And
they don't accept chemicals or paint.
pardon me?
They don't accept chemicals or paint.
Oh, okay.
Sorry. You could try. I've tried.
See, I'm glad I was here tonight. I learned something.
They love your furniture, though. Clothes,
Yes,
shoes.
right. Yeah, I understand what you're talking about, and I don't know if any of the paint stores would consider. Okay.
Just asking. You know,
Yeah, I'm sorry.
I saw that small print at the bottom there, so I was just thinking about myself and what I have sitting in my garage, which is 5- and 6-year-old paint, in a 5-gallon bucket, which is half full.
So,
Well, that also, on a related note, if that becomes an issue for you, because once the paint is dry, it's no longer considered hazardous waste, you can put it out with regular garbage, our guys will pick it up. So take the lid off and let it dry, or wad up leftover newspaper and let it absorb, or put kitty litter in there. As long as you keep the lid off, if our guys can look in there and see that it's dry paint, then they'll pick it up with garbage.
Okay, that's good enough.
My husband tried that. He called and asked how to do that. We told him, put it out, they picked it up. It was still sitting on the curb. He put the kitty litter in it, put a stick in it, so you could see it was dry.
Well, I apologize. Now, after I made that commitment to you, if anybody tries it and it doesn't work, you've got my cell number, call me and I'll come get it for you. Cross is wrong.
I had one other question. You mentioned that you'll pick up sharps. Do you provide the sharps containers? Because that's an issue. I know,
Diabetics and
it's,
Not-
if you're on a home health thing, a lot of times they'll send you a packet. It's got a little bitty sharps container this big.
Right.
And it's, people who are taking shots daily need something larger. I don't know where to get it.
I know they are available through the pharmacies and the insurance companies. The container for collecting up the sharps themselves is not something that we provide. It is, it's essentially an off-the-shelf program that you see tonight.
So they would need to take that whole container and put it in the plastic bag? Or do they?
Yes.
They can't just empty the sharps into the plastic bag, because then they're not, somebody could get stuck through the,
Right, that is correct. The sharps
Have to be.
collected in an acceptable container, yes.
Okay, a couple points or questions here, I guess. The mayor was questioning the fine print down there, and it says larger than 5 gallons. So 5.2 is larger, which they say they won't pick up, but 5 gallons would probably fit on those paint cans, is that correct?
Yes, sir, that is correct.
So if it's 5 gallons and under, you'll be okay. So if it's 5.2 or above, they won't pick up, but 5 gallon cans they will. Okay. Also on the top, it says they'll pick up fluorescent lamps. They show little small light bulbs. What about the longer 4-foot light bulbs?
This thing says something about tape them together.
Do they fit in the bag still?
No, those types of items will be outside the bag
Okay.
and collected by the same person the same day, but again, put into different compartments in that vehicle that they're driving.
And then kind of going along the same lines as far as how much it would cost our town, because it would be every household. The 79 cents, how does that come about for a smaller sized town like ourselves? Is that like Flower Mound, Louisville, everybody else pays that 79 cents? Or is it different prices across the board per city?
Well, first of all, it varies by geographic area of the country, I will tell you that. And to some degree, the cost model is based upon the number of rooftops, I'll be perfectly honest with you. We're able to provide, in Carrollton with 33,000 or 34,000 houses, Flower Mound 18,000 or so, we're able to provide them with quite frankly, a better price. I will offer up to you that the standard pricing model that we were advised earlier this year to begin using, which was a shift, was $1 per house per month. Now, this program, and Councilman Gordon, I want to say maybe it was you and I that talked about this briefly a year and a half ago. There were a handful of cities when I was still over on the city side, before I got moved over to the universities, before I came back to the city side, that I had talked briefly about on this because it was gaining some traction. And for those cities that we had made even limited contact with, then I was given the okay to bring the price down from the standard $1 per home. So, I don't know if 79 cents is what you consider a great deal, or if it has to be 49 cents, but for several of the cities that I began talking to about this a couple of years ago, that's where we got the price on 79 cents instead of $1.
Okay.
I'll take that question. If we think that's a great deal or not. When we went with the recycling program 5 years ago, you did a phenomenal job on the marketing and the messaging sent out to our customers, our citizens, about how to get your bucket. Here's a phone number to call if you move into a new house and there is no bucket. You even gave us an option to buy a bigger bucket, the $50 bucket. I love it. Fill it up every week. And then I think it came back a year later and you delivered some good data that said, here's the amount of participation that the citizens in Hickory Creek are giving towards the recycling. And it was like 80%. I can't remember what it was, but it was a very large number. I think the initial recycling program, throwing it in the green can, not having to sort, works very well for our citizens. That came to us at a cost of, I believe, 33 cents a rooftop. And we're using it daily, weekly, I would say. This is a program that I think I'm not going to see the value in 79 cents a rooftop because we're not going to use it weekly. 90% of our citizens are not going to use this program. I'm thinking, I guess what I'd like to see, using our geography, our demographic, what data do you have to show the amount of participation that our residents could achieve? Has the program been out long enough to have any data that shows what support other communities have given this sort of a program?
I don't know.
Okay.
I simply don't know. The program in Texas is relatively new. Where this all initiated was in California. Most people really don't care to make comparisons between Texas and California. Even if I was able to provide statistical information from California, I don't know how valid you think you live around here. So I don't. I will offer this up to you simply from average Joe resident standpoint, living in Howard Village and now having access to this program. The convenience factor for me is well worth it. We had a program at Copper's Branch Park last year in early November, I think it was. And I got all the literature from the city. And at 2 o'clock in the afternoon, when I was doing yard work, I realized I had missed the collection event. Okay, now what am I going to do with this stuff? And the idea of idling and throwing fumes into the environment and just taking a chance of this stuff either spilling in the trunk of my vehicle or putting it in my wife's SUV and then some of these smelling chemicals, I'm not interested in it. So that's just my personal opinion.
No, personally, I think it's a phenomenal value. For $9.48 a year, I can call you up whenever I want to get rid of mine. John Smith's going to use this every week. This is to me, I get the value. It would cost me $10 to drive to that event to do it. But going back, remembering when we passed the first recycling program here, we got a lot of negative feedback from citizens that did not want to pay that extra 33 cents a month. We're talking less than $5 a year. I already recycle my own cans. I already recycle my own aluminum. Why are you forcing me to pay this additional fee? I definitely saw the value in the recycling with the green buckets. I don't know that I'm on board with this yet at a 79-cent price point. To that statement, I think the concern that we have, the timing of this is interesting. I agree that there's power moving in with the other rooftops in the other communities if we all did it at one time to hopefully drive the cost down. But we certainly have an excellent opportunity to get that cost lower when we renegotiate our contract in October. Whether it's a decision we make this summer or we make in October, that's up to us. I don't know if our citizens will miss it for the next 5 months. But we also don't know what type of increase we're going to be looking at in October overall with waste management. With as much as we're participating in recycling and the value that it was bringing to waste management at the time when you presented the initial data, it appeared that you were making a lot of money on the recycling that we were providing you, because you're turning around and reselling that. Is that going to be a similar model if you're thinking 90% of the materials that we're putting in the bags, what's the value of that to waste management? And how do we share some of that value instead of simply absorbing the cost?
Historically, the value with this stuff is more about keeping it out of the landfill and having potential issues associated with the wrong stuff going to the landfill than it having any tangible value. Certainly at some point in the future, if this stuff that we collect turns into a commodity, then we're all about sharing that commodity with the communities that we have the program with. And if at some point if that's a condition of a potential contract, and you wanted some type of language put in there that would identify at least the potential value of commodities in the future, we could certainly do that. Now, and just as a quick aside in regard to the recycling, because the conventional recycling, we went through, when the economy really crashed in 08, 9, and 10, most of the cities, if not all the cities that were not participating in a revenue share program were happy that they weren't. Because the flip side is that, for those cities that set up that program, we were having to talk to those cities about helping us because that commodity market had disappeared and we couldn't get rid of the stuff. So, sometimes there's a trap door that you don't want to inadvertently fall into either.
Certainly. Is this something that CWD or your competitors are doing as well, or is this a new initiative to try to put waste management ahead of the game as far as green initiatives?
This is one of several dozen initiatives that are exclusive to waste management, and it does put us out in front of everybody.
I really like the idea, but one of the things I feel like saying is, when you're talking about conventional recycling, that's one issue. When you're talking about health and safety, I think that's another issue. Because utilization may be infrequent, but if you don't get everybody on board, people have a tendency to not read things or listen to things in terms of where they can dispose of it. The longer they hang on to it, it's a health risk to them as well as me. If I'm anywhere in the neighborhood, they dump it somewhere eventually. So I think I don't know how much of a cost you can put on the health risk, especially if somewhere down the road prescription medication would come into play. Because I look at it from a health and welfare standpoint for both myself and my family and those around me who choose not to do it. So I just wanted to say that. Thank you.
Okay, any other questions, Mr. Clark? Discussion amongst council?
So the way the agenda item is written, it looks as if we are being asked to consider action on this item.
That's correct. Is that provided to you, Roger, a copy of a contract for this add-on, or how would it set up? Was there an additional addendum to the contract if we decided to report on this, or John, did you provide anything like that to Roger?
Well, I do apologize. First of all, this was my first formal presentation of this program, so I maybe didn't connect all the dots. I did send the town secretary kind of a boilerplate contract template that was used and discussed by the legal counsel in Highland Village. Part of my thought process, again, as being a former city manager, was thinking it was maybe better to conceptually get the idea than getting a contract in front of the attorney that he's reviewing, but you're not going to do anything with it. So my thought was, conceptually, you thought you might want to go forward with it, then we can have the attorneys begin discussion.
Gotcha.
I think instead of a contract, we'd probably rather see a simple addendum to the current contract and not have to look at T's and C's again.
Well, yeah, and this is a relatively simple addendum.
But current contract expires September 30th this year.
To answer your question, Lance?
Well, yeah, I guess I would want to act on approval now without getting some indication of what's in the agreement.
Okay. Well, I think what we do then, kind of just based on what I'm hearing, is maybe we put this out there as a survey on the website, see how people would feel about the 79-cent increase, and then maybe use your page that you provided us as part of that, or maybe the newsletter or something, to see what the gut check is out there. And then, depending on that, you could get us that addendum to look over, so we can decide at the next council meeting whether that's the direction we want to go based on that. Is that what we want to do, or, I mean?
Sure.
Okay. We'll just go about it that way. So if you're okay with us using your attachment here,
Yeah,
we put that out there, then just kind of put
just
that out there.
identify as a sample and
Go from there.
perfectly fine.
Okay. Thank you very much.
Well, thank you, folks. And I hope we, in terms of the conventional solid waste program that we've been part of for so many years now, I certainly hope that you all keep your cats.
I love that guy.
Folks, thank you. I do appreciate that. I apologize for taking up so much of your time.
Thank you very much.
Thank you.
Okay, item D4. Consider an act on granting exceptions to Rave Cinemas LLC, 8380 South Simmons Freeway, Hickory Creek, Texas, 75065 from Hickory Creek. Code of Ordinances, Chapter 3, Voting Regulation, Article 3.08 signs, Section 3.08.013. I believe we have somebody here from Representative Rave.
Hi, good evening. Thank you for your time tonight. My name is Helen Irizarry. I'm the risk and real estate manager at Rage Cinemas and Special Projects Vice CEO. And the reason we're here tonight is we have, well, the theatre up the road, Hickory, was actually our first theatre we built for Rage Cinemas back in 2000. And in the last few years, we've noticed a big drop off in attendance, primarily due to the cinema from Denton and the AMC in Highland Village. And we have, in the last couple of months, we've really pushed to get the theatre back on its feet again. As it is right now, it's not sustainable for this kind of attendance levels. And we have a multitude of incentives we're looking at right now. The main one is pricing. You may have seen there was a banner on the side of the theatre right now, which we put up about 2 and 3 weeks ago. I worked with Chris and Amy in the town hall here to get that banner up, but due to the size and restraints of the permits for the banners, that was the largest size that we were approved for without presenting it tonight. The reason we rely on a larger banner is we feel we have the exposure on I-35, which is very valuable, and we just feel from the size of the building, it's such a huge building, that we feel that that banner is just too small for really to pop out if people driving by and hopefully visiting our theatre. We have some great prices right now, we have some great movies going on right now, so we really want to get people in the door so they can see what a great theatre it is.
So you want to go from the 6 by 30 to an 18 by 50, is that correct?
Yes. Did you all receive the drawings that I submitted? And just to make a point, we won't be putting palm trees in the front, not right now anyway. I know it's on the drawing, but it is the theatre here. Yes, that's what we're looking at.
Okay, that's going to be the same material makeup as the one that's out there now?
Yes, that's
Which
correct.
is just a vinyl?
Yes.
May I ask, in the last 3 weeks since you've had the banner, I have noticed it, by the
Oh,
way.
good.
Have you seen an uptick in,
It's very hard to say in just a 3-week period. Our industry is very movie driven. Obviously, we had this last weekend, we had Hunger Games out, which was huge. So we would probably have seen similar attendance just from the movie alone. We also had Spring Break a few weeks ago. We had Spring Break Kids Series, which we do every year, so that brings in extra people. We have had the new pricing in effect since August of last year. We just haven't really had a chance to market it. We put flyers out for colleges, but this is a real opportunity. We've seen a slight uptick, and really what we do is we kind of compare weekends from this year to last year. That's the best way of doing it, and also similar grossing movies. We haven't seen an uptick as we expected.
and how long would you need this banner out there? Is this permanent?
Well, I mean, we would like it there. We're not going to have these pricing forever. We will definitely have them over the summer period, and that's something that we can definitely kind of talk to you about if you feel that it's something you would like as more of a permanent, a temporary solution. Then we can definitely work with that. I think it's important we have it over the summer. That's our busiest time at the movie theatre. And then I think it's enough time for us to plant just get people into the theatre so they can come back because they like the theatre as opposed to having cheap prices all the time.
Questions? Discussion amongst the council?
I think if we consider allowing a variance for the size, we might also consider an allowance for the type of material. Meaning, and I don't know where everybody sits with this, I think the Rave is a great partner for Hickory Creek. My family, we use it often, I'm very proud to have it here. But I don't want this to turn into the first step of becoming a dollar theater. I think there's plenty of those, and they have banners all over their buildings. If we do consider this, would we rather see it be some sort of a tin or metal sign that has the graphic on it? Take the same graphic that's going to be on the vinyl material and put it on a metal that can be screwed to the building instead of a banner, a large banner that will be flapping in the breeze, fading, or whatever. Just a thought that if we do consider changing the size, maybe we ought to consider changing the type of material allowed as well. first glance, then you're right, I saw it the first day that it was up, and wow, $5 movies, oh man, I gotta work during the day. You know, I think visibility is great. I would like to get some of that traffic that's going up to Unicorn Lake. We all know how it helps us here at home. I'm willing to consider it if it makes sense, you know, for us. You know, our economic development certainly needs it.
How does the rate feel about a different material for the sign?
The problem with different materials is you have thus increasing cost. I didn't even know we could put a metal sign that large and that heavy on the side of the building, but you'll probably